What is up, wrestling fans? JP from KayFabe Chronicles coming to you yet once again. Well, it's late March, early April, so you know it's just around the corner. The granddaddy of them all. The pinnacle of sports entertainment. The showcase of the immortals. The reason why people point to giant signs up in the air with Roman numerals that no one can possibly understand what those numbers are. It's Wrestlemania season, baby! Woo! Oh, the best time of the year in my opinion. And you know what? This year marks the 33rd year of WrestleMania. That's right, WrestleMania has been around almost as long as I've been alive. And this year, since it's in Florida, I figured I'd crack out my Tampa Bay jersey even though it's in Orlando. So you know what? Since WrestleMania is a little bit younger than me, I feel like that I've grown up watching WrestleMania. I have grown with WrestleMania. So it's today, I think it's completely reasonable that I cover the history of WrestleMania in my own unique way. Now, I know there's 33 WrestleManias and we don't really got a lot of time, so I'm going to cover WrestleMania 1 through 20. Mainly because 20 is a nice, even round number, and we can all agree that 20 ended on a really awesome high note. Don't worry, fans, I will cover the next ones after that in a future video. So until then, let's get the ball rolling. The year was 1984, and Vincent Kennedy McMahon, otherwise known as Vince McMahon to today's current standard, had just gotten possession of the Northeastern Territory of Wrestling from his father. Now, to set himself apart from the other promoters, he needed something big. Something that would draw not only wrestling fans to watch his product, but also find a way to get new blood in as well. Fast forward a little bit and enter MTV. You know, MTV? Okay, let me explain. Back in the day, MTV was a TV station. TV, thing that sat in your living room, played shows. Anyway, MTV played music videos, and not the crap we're talking about today. I'm talking about when musicians wrote their own songs, played their own music, and put out videos to entice people buying their albums, and not just downloading everything. Now, with everyone tuning into MTV, Vince figured he could tap into this market, and began seeding his demon baby. And no, I'm not talking about Stephanie, into what would become the rock and roll era of wrestling. Now, by having his wrestlers appear in music videos and musicians appearing at wrestling events, it was a cross-promoter's wet dream. Wrestling was getting a new fan base, but Vince knew that this could be something bigger. Now, the Coles Notes version says that Vince decided to put all of his chips on a single event. He would book his entire roster as well as some wrestlers from other territories in a one-night-only event at Madison Square Garden. Throw them all into some quality matches, a couple celebrities, and give the event a snappy name. Oh, I see what you did there. I shit you not. Now, as everyone knows, this event was a great success. So, now Vince obviously saw how popular the WrestleMania could possibly be, and he definitely saw the money in his eyes. So what did he do? He decided to put on number 2. Now, with the success of the first WrestleMania, WWF... Yeah, I said it. What are you gonna do, sue me? Like I was saying, the WWF needed to up the ante with the next WrestleMania. WrestleMania 1 was at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Now, New York is as big as it can get in regards to business. So how do you beat that? I know, have it in 3 different cities. In the same night. Because that makes a whole lot of sense. You know what? I bet you the board meeting probably looked a lot like this. So, Mr. McMahon, have you decided on this year's WrestleMania location? New York. Okay, going back to where we started. Good choice. Now have Chicago. Right. I thought we were doing New York. LA! So you want to do all 3? Yeah. How does that even work? I'm Vince McMahon, damn it! Okay, we'll see what we can come up with, sir. How would you feel if you went to this event? You show up, sit down, watch 1 or 2 matches, and then the lights go down and a giant-ass projector screen comes down, and you have to watch the rest of the event via satellite. Yes, all 3 cities did get a main event, but a lot of the matches on this card were very, very subpar to begin with. From a squash match of a women's championship, to a cluster with Uncle Elmer and Adrian Adonis, to a confusing as hell boxing match with Roddy Piper and Mr. T. Hell, even the main event steel cage match was forgettable.
In my opinion, the only saving grace was the British Bulldogs winning the Tag Team Championships from the Dream Team.
The fact that it was at 3 different venues was equally as confusing as it was a failed attempt to already expand an already growing industry. Now, the following WrestleManias would all try to carve their own niche to give them a chance to be even more unique than the previous one.
The largest crowd and main event. The one with the tournament. The one with way too many matches for its own good. The first one on foreign soil. The one based on a real-life crisis. The one where we all thought Hogan was leaving. And then there's WrestleMania 9.
Now, many consider 9 to be the worst WrestleMania of all time. So that's why I'm going to diarrhea all over it. What a dreadful event. Subpar matches with no build. An embarrassing addition to The Undertaker's streak. Bob Backlund versus Razor Ramon. And of course, Hulk Hogan having to weasel his already ego-filled head into getting himself one more title run.
Now, granted, it's not as bad as everyone thinks it is. Visually, it was the first WrestleMania, in my opinion, to blow the bank in regards to set, atmosphere, and overall show. By transforming Caesar's Palace into a literal coliseum, everything looked great, from the costumes to the set, and even the opening ceremony. Now, as far as the matches, it started off on a real high note with a great match between Shawn Michaels and Tatanka for the Intercontinental Championships. Yes, I know it ended in a countout, but overall both guys worked really hard, and each one of them put on one of the better matches of the night. We then followed up with another great match between the Steiner brothers and the Head Shrinkers. But from then on, the matches seemed to decrease in quality. A lot of storytelling seemed to rush all the way, up until the title match between Bret Hart and Yokozuna. Now, compared to most main event WrestleMania matches, this one is actually very short compared to them. Granted, being over 500 pounds, Yokozuna wouldn't be able to put on a full 20-minute match, and rumors state that he cut a lot of the predetermined spots during the match, which also cut down on the length. Now, everyone knows what happened after this. Hulk Hogan would make his way down to the ring and confront the newly crowned champion. And not only did he hand Yoko his first pinfall loss, but also recapture the World Championship. Why? Because it's Hulk Hogan, brother. F*** you, that's why.
And it really sucks because this event started off with so much promise. Now, to quote my grade 10 high school drama teacher, he always said that no matter how good a show possibly is, it always comes down to the ending, the curtain call. If that curtain call is shit, then the entire show will be shit, because the audience is always going to remember that last thing before they go home. It will be forever ingrained in their minds. Now, yes, Hulk Hogan was a huge star of the 1980s, and everybody worshipped him. But that's the thing, that was the 80s. Hulk Hogan was always on top, and now it was time for him to step down. He left the company to make room for new people that come in as that new top face spot. And the fact that Hogan came in one more time and completely steal that away really left a sour taste in a lot of people's minds. And that is the main reason why everyone will always remember WrestleMania 9 as one of, if not the worst WrestleMania of all time. Now, how could WWE possibly get the people to enjoy it once more? What could WWE possibly do to get the fans to once again cheer WrestleMania's name? Oh, baby.
How can I explain this event and do it justice? The advancement into one of the best feuds of the year with Bret Hart and Owen Hart, the double title match which showcased a guy who could barely last 10 minutes in the ring a year earlier, put on 2 of the best matches of his life, and of course one of the most talked about matches of all time, the famed ladder match between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. Everything this night had worked. It was a huge step up from the previous WrestleMania and put WWE back on the map. So what do? They it all up with WrestleMania 11.
How can you possibly go from something as beautiful as WrestleMania 10 to something as dreadful as WrestleMania 11 in the span of only 1 year? I'll tell you how. You loaded up with as many celebrities as humanly possible and a bunch of matches that had no build or effort whatsoever.
Granted, bringing celebs into wrestling, and especially WrestleMania, is a staple. Hell, there's even a wing dedicated to it in the Hall of Fame. Don't you worry about that. I'll express my thoughts another time on that shit. It's like someone was like, "Hey Vince, I don't think you possibly have enough celebrities at WrestleMania." And Vince was like, "Hold my protein shake and watch this." Hell, even the main event had a celebrity even fighting in it. That's right, for those of you who don't know, the final match of the night at WrestleMania 11 pitted Bam Bam Bigelow against one of the greatest NFL linebackers to ever play the game, Lawrence Taylor. The match itself was overhyped, included bringing in a bunch of former NFL players to back LT up. In fact, one of them would eventually land himself a job in the WCW as part of the New Horsemen. Yeah, I'm not going to cover that. The match itself wasn't as bad as it could have been. LT looked actually pretty decent and even did get a win over Bam Bam, but it shouldn't have headlined the biggest show of the year.
With a joke of a main event and a horrible conclusion to the Bret Hart-Bob Backlund feud, it's pretty safe to say that WrestleMania 11 was a huge step down from its predecessor a year earlier. In my opinion, the only saving grace of this event was the sexy and amazing mashup theme song with the British Bulldog and Lex Luger to open up the show.
Just like earlier, I will speed through the next group of manias to make them easier. The one with the boyhood dream finally realized. The one where Taker finally gets the belt. The beginning of the Austin era. The one with the really cool logo. The one with no singles matches. Seriously, what the and the greatest mania of all time.
Ask any die-hard wrestling fan which WrestleMania is their favorite, and most of the time they're always going to say X7. What can I possibly say about this event that doesn't already do it justice? The heel turn of the century, the gimmick battle royal, an amazing hardcore match, father versus son, and the debut of one of the most epic turnbuckle-to-turnbuckle elbow drops of all time, and not to mention the greatest tag team title match of all time. Every time I see that spear from the top of the ladder, just, new pair of pants. Seriously, new pair of pants. Now, WrestleMania 18, the immediate year after, was a little bit different. That's right, it featured the return of screw you to pushing young talent Hulk Hogan, brother! Only this time he was taking on The Rock. And the outcome was something that Vince wasn't really planning.
You see, leading up to the event, they were really pushing Hogan as a monster heel and The Rock as the babyface. Hell, even the entire match was rumored to be scripted to match spots based on the crowd booing Hogan. But lo and behold, the match itself resulted in thunderous applause and cheers for Hogan that they had to rework the spots as the match was going on. And even in later DVD releases, the audio is tweaked, so at least sounds like some people are booing Hogan.
Now, as you can tell by my love for the yellow tights, I've never really been a Hulk Hogan fan. Like, even as a kid, I really didn't cheer for him as a face. I was more of a heel guy. Now, you gotta give the man credit where credit is due. He did put WWE on the map in the 1980s. And it is kind of sad that he is almost written out of the history books because of some personal stuff. But damn, you gotta admit that that match between him and The Rock was legit.
Some of the other highlights were Ric Flair getting the bloody hell beaten out of him by The Undertaker, a fairly decent main event in which Jericho sadly coughed up the belts to Triple H, Scott Hall ridiculously overselling numerous Stone Cold Stunners, and the greatest wrestler of all time, the Hurricane, holding the hardcore title for a small fraction of the night.
Stand back! There's a new hardcore champion coming through! The Rock vs. Hogan was a complete different league of its own. And it's not even the thing that closed out the night. There were still matches after this. Immediately following was the Women's Championship match, and no one even gave a shit about that. It's very similar to what happened a couple years later, where Undertaker vs. Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25 in one of the greatest matches ever considered by almost all wrestling fans. And after that, there was 2 title matches that no one even cared about. So, WrestleMania 18 was very similar to WrestleMania X7. Unfortunately, just because it fell after something as beautiful as that, it wasn't able to capture the previous WrestleMania's glory. But still a pretty damn good watch.
WrestleMania 19 would take place in the outdoor venue of Safeco Field in Seattle. Wow, that's really ballsy, WWE, holding something outdoors in the northwest corner of Rainville, USA? Wow. But also, it was also the first event under the new WWE moniker. F***ing Panda Bears. The overall card had some decent build. A new up-and-comer in Brock Lesnar going for the title against Kurt Angle, Hulk Hogan taking on Vince McMahon, Jericho going up against his one-time idol Shawn Michaels in an absolute blockbuster because that's what Shawn Michaels does. Triple H taking on Booker T, and of course Rock vs. Stone Cold 3. And that of course was actually Stone Cold's last match before retiring.
Now, I have a personal soft spot for this WrestleMania. I was able to see it in a good group of friends that I really haven't seen in quite some time. Because you know what, we're all grown up now and have lives and stuff, and we don't really get together that often. But one thing I will always remember about this pay-per-view is that goddamn shooting star press spot, Brock. Damn it!
Seriously, Brock, you're the size of 12 men and you're attempting a move made famous by Billy. I'm the size of Brock Lesnar's Pinky Kidman? No idea what you were thinking. You know, odds are it's probably very profound, like, Angle is down. I think this might be my chance to do something new and something great. And of course, after he hit the ground, me Brock, me go boom, derp. Everyone who witnessed it swore Brock was dead. But in typical Lesnar fashion, not even that was going to stop him, and he finished the match and captured the championship.
WrestleMania 19 is definitely a hidden gem among the WrestleMania library, and it doesn't really get as much credit as it deserves. I do consider it in my top 5 of WrestleManias for sure. Now, if there's any way to close out this show, it's with something even more beautiful than that, and it's WrestleMania 20.
With the Attitude Era winding down, WWE needed to start steering in a new direction, with the departure of Stone Cold, and a roster consisting of a lot of new guys picked up from the Invasion angle, plus a bunch of new up-and-comers. It was time to put on a show for the ages. John Cena made his Mania debut, capturing the U.S. Championship. The Cruiserweights were thrown together in a cluster of matches. Mick Foley made his return, teaming with The Rock. The Undertaker returned to the gimmick that equals money and not some badass American biker. Eddie would wrestle Kurt Angle with one of the greatest Eddie finishes of all time. Lesnar would take on Goldberg in a match that, I would do anything to see again. You, Vince. And to cap it off, Benoit would at last conquer his curse and capture the World Championship in one hell of a triple threat. We all know the story of how Chris Benoit ended up in this title picture, drawing number 1 for the Royal Rumble and lasting the entire match to earn his title shot. And with the addition of Shawn Michaels making this a triple threat, it was amazing and still one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time.
Sadly, this moment will forever be soured in the eyes of many wrestling fans due to real-life events. But you cannot take away that the shot of Benoit and Guerrero hugging with the confetti falling down as they're both holding their championships is a thing of pure beauty. And it's truly, truly sad that we will never ever get to see either of these guys in the squared circle again. Well, there you guys have it. WrestleMania 1 through 20, the history. As always, if you guys liked the video, please crush that like button. Subscribe to the station for more great videos. Follow us on Twitter using the 2 name tags below. And this is JP from KayFabe Chronicles. And you know what? I'm going to go watch one of my favorite WrestleMania moments right now. Sweet mother of...